technology. Today we're going to be talking about consumption monitoring, why it's important to include it, and how we're making metering installation easier for everyone. Our company was originally founded as Energy Aware back in 2005, and our products were sold to utilities with a focus on energy efficiency and smart meter integration. In 2014, we became Neurio and were successful in securing contracts with some of the larger solar leasing companies in the US. And this quickly led to a high volume of installs and valuable learnings from our user base. Today, we're headquartered in Vancouver, BC, Canada, and Neurio monitors have been installed in over 175,000 homes. Let's start with a quick product overview. What is Neurio and what can it do? It's a hardware meter installed in the electrical panel that measures how the home uses and produces power, as well as software that computes the information and sends it to a web or smartphone app. The home energy monitoring kit includes the meter and 2 current transformers. The kit in itself will measure total home consumption in real time. And when we say real time, we mean every second data. And this is within 1% accuracy. You can add solar generation monitoring at any time by purchasing a solar expansion kit. This includes an additional 2 CTs that wrap around the leads coming from the solar inverter. Now, Neurio monitoring is intended for use in standard residential homes, but it can also be used in small commercial applications up to a maximum voltage of 240 volts AC.
Hey, Kelly.
Now, you'll see some...
It looks like the slides aren't moving.
Oh. Let's see what's happened here. Sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, we've got a technical difficulty. Looks like that is resolved. So I'm going to backtrack just for a second. Thanks, Caitlin. Can you see now?
Yes, we can see now. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So back to the product offering. You'll see some prices here up on the screen. Now, these represent the current Neurio retail price in US dollars. For contractors, we've aimed to position Neurio as a relatively low-cost add-on. Neurio is sold exclusively through distribution, and our distribution partners have competitive reseller pricing available, as I'm sure that you're able to get through AEE. Now, Neurio metering is a one-time upfront cost for the hardware and the software. There's no subscription fees, and we're continually updating the software and adding new features at no charge to users or to installers. Here are our topics for today. We'll walk through a few of the screens that users experience in the mobile app, and then dive into the installation process and our new hardware solution. We'll talk about the value of consumption monitoring, as well as other features available in our installer program to help you drive sales and attract new customers. We'll wrap up with a look at what we've got in store in terms of product development and what sets Neurio monitoring apart from other meters. There's time set aside at the end to take questions. So as mentioned, please feel free to type those into the GoToWebinar question toolbar as we go along. And when you open up the Neurio app, you're directed to the home screen showing live consumption and generation, both numerically in watts and visually by the graph. Solar production is shown in the top left corner in watts. And this is live total solar production at any time. Consumption is similarly up in the top right corner. Both amounts show the true value of what is being used and produced, irrespective of each other. So the net amount is actually shown on a different screen. In regard to the graph, the circles represent activity points. An activity point occurs each time something registering over 100 watts is turned on or off. Tap on an activity point with your finger to see how much power in kilowatts per hour that activity is using, as well as what it's costing you. And the cost of energy is determined by utility billing information inputted by the homeowner during the setup of their user account. They can select from a variety of rate structures, such as flat rate, tiered, or time of use. And with real-time data transmission, you can use this screen as an energy audit tool by walking around with the app in your hand. And as you turn things on and off, you can detect exactly how much power different appliances are consuming. Scrolling down, users see the solar savings calculator. The calculator computes how much energy has been used from the grid and how much has been used from solar. You can select to view this information by the day, week, month, year, or billing cycle. This provides customers with a quick and easy way to understand how their solar investment is helping them save. During setup, users have the option to input basic information about their household, such as the type of home, size, and number of occupants. On the always-on screen, Neurio calculates your energy base load and compares it to other homes similar to yours to provide a ranking to show you how you're doing. Through the History tab, users can view their consumption and solar power generation side by side over the course of a day. The blue curve represents consumption and the orange curve solar power generation. Both are shown in 1 watt resolution. The dotted blue line near the bottom represents an indication of what's always running, or your ghost load. This gives you a good idea of what's being consumed when no one's home and you think you have everything turned off. So regular power over time monitoring gives homeowners a better understanding of their consumption habits and how their solar systems work. They'll notice when their household peak periods are and start to get a better understanding of how solar performs at different points in the day. The Energy Over Time screen expands historical data to capture specific time periods. You can now select a week, month, year, or billing cycle to view consumption and generation trends over that period. This is helpful for analyzing how changes in the household or weather conditions affect solar savings. For example, a homeowner might want to compare a period prior to adding a new air conditioner or another person to the house to after, or to look at the difference in solar production between summer or fall or winter. All of this historical reporting is exportable into CSV format through the User Settings tab. Now, the Neurio meter has the approximate footprint of a cell phone. This is mounted inside the home breaker panel. 2 current transformers wrap around the main line and 2 more around the leads coming from the solar inverter. You then need to install the voltage cables, and you do this by connecting a voltage cable into 1 circuit breaker for each phase. Both Neurio's consumption and solar generation measurements are within 1% accuracy. Part of the reason for the high accuracy level is because we measure the actual voltage of each phase rather than using a set or assumed voltage for the home, which many of the other meters in the market do. So as we know, voltage from home to home and place to place can be pretty irregular. So it's important to capture actual voltage if you want to produce an accurate consumption reading. Now, the installation procedure is designed to take approximately 15 to 30 minutes. Once the hardware install is complete, the Neurio meter will start transmitting data through the home's Wi-Fi network. To improve reception, we include a clip that fits through a standard knockout in the panel to allow the antenna out into the wall for better Wi-Fi reception. Now, all this sounds really easy, and it was designed to be, but what we realize now, after 175,000 installations, is that easy only occurs when you're working with what we will now refer to as the dream electrical panel. So in the dream electrical panel, there's tons of room and the main lines are easily accessible. So if we flash forward to electrical panel reality, we have live exposed bus bars. We have live exposed bus bars with extremely low clearance spacing. There are rigid 4-wire center feed panels, and they're crowded panels that really don't give you much room to maneuver. So for the past year and a half, we've been developing a single solution that can address all of these challenges. So we'd like to introduce you to our new Neurio Universal CT. So it's slender in profile, it has a wider circumference opening, and it can be clamped onto a main line in seconds. Here's how the Universal CT stacks up beside other CTs in the industry. You'll see the Universal CT on the far left. Next to it is Neurio's current standard split core CT. This is what's been included in our metering kit for the last few years, followed by competitor models you're likely to have some familiarity with. In cases of exposed bus bars, installing a standard split core CT generally involves pulling the meter to de-energize the panel. With the Universal CT, you can use electrical gloves and standard electrician's pliers to clip the CT directly onto the live bar. Then we have low clearance bus bars, typically with only half an inch of space available. The universal CT was specifically designed to a height of 0.47 inches to ensure accessibility into these types of panels. The universal CT is most unique in that it's the only solution on the market today that can address 4-wire center feed panel types. The angular opening and narrow profile allow for 4 CTs to fit around the rigid wires side by side. Neurio offers Y adapters to splice the consumption ports in the back of the meter so you can run 2 additional consumption CTs to the panel. The meter will combine the data from all 4 CTs into one consumption reading. Universal CTs will be added to the Neurio product offering as a separate kit, including 2 CTs. The cost of the kit is about $89 retail. Distributors will be able to take orders next month for delivery beginning in November. As we've had a lot of interest around the launch of these CTs, it's worth noting that Neurio CTs are only compatible with Neurio meters. They're specifically calibrated to work within our monitoring systems. Conversely, outside CTs also can't be used with the Neurio meter. So we briefly touched on Y adapters in the 4-wire panel solution, which is included in our accessory offering. Another add-on is our 3-phase kit. This has 1 additional CT and a set of special instructions for 3-phase installations. With only 4 ports in the back of the Neurio, a 3-phase consumption installation with solar requires a workaround in the advanced settings to multiply the solar reading in the 4th port. If you need assistance with your install, you can always contact our live support team from Monday to Friday by phone, as well as by email at support@neur.io. We also offer CT extenders. They're 10 feet long and sold in pairs. You can link multiple extenders together if needed, but we don't recommend extending past 50 feet. Now, we're often asked about homes that have 2 main electrical panels. Are you able to combine their usage into one Neurio? The answer is yes, but both panels must be hardwired into the same Neurio meter. So if the panels are close enough together, you can use the Y adapters to splice the consumption ports and CT extenders to extend an extra set of CTs into the second panel. Neurio will combine the readings from both panels and display the home's total power usage. If the panels are beyond 50 feet apart, it's possible to install multiple Neurio meters in one home, but they will each act as a standalone system. So Neurio doesn't have the ability to talk to other Neurios remotely, but it also won't interfere with them. In addition to measuring total home consumption, Neurio also has the ability to submeter specific consumption circuits. So in a standard install, the first 2 ports in the back of the meter would be used for consumption, and the second 2 for solar generation. However, in the absence of solar, all 4 ports could be used for consumption. For example, the first 2 CTs could go around the main lines to capture total home energy use, and another pair of CTs could submeter things like air conditioning or a pool heater. The result would be 3 different graphical representations on the app. So shown on the screen here is total consumption as well as the submetering of 2 different baseboard heaters. Now the heaters aren't on, so you don't see much activity for those circuits. Submetering can be useful if you have a customer looking for more granular usage data on a large appliance, and it can also create an opportunity to recommend an upgrade or a more efficient solution. So why consumption monitoring? Inverter companies all offer monitoring. The benefit of using a monitor like ours that works independently from inverters is that you can install consumption monitoring at any time. So let's say if you have a customer that isn't quite ready to go solar yet, you can offer to install consumption monitoring as a first step. It's a relatively low-cost entry point that engages the customer and gets them thinking about savings and how power is being used in their home. Some residential solar companies we've worked with offer Neurio for a few months trial at no charge. If the customer decides to go forward with a solar system, they let them keep it. And if not, they simply uninstall the meter, reset it, and use it on the next home. One of the common hurdles we hear about is overcoming the customer's lack of solar education. So as we all know, when customers go solar, they focus on the extra green power they're producing, and they can start to get a little careless with usage. So they're leaving lights on and running AC with the windows open, and before they know it, they've significantly increased their power use since solar turned on. So the first bill comes and they're confused. The cost savings are much less than expected. They assume their system isn't working properly or that they didn't get what they were promised. And they're calling you to come over and take a look, or even worse, they might be hesitant to recommend you. So without consumption monitoring, the customer really has no idea how much power they were using before solar or how changes in their behavior are impacting their savings. So by creating more awareness for homeowners around their usage habits, you can help make them more accountable for how consumption is affecting their solar payback. With more market share moving to the long tail of independent solar installers, differentiating your business and providing value add to customers is more important than ever. So I've heard of Neurio being offered in a number of ways. Some installers might include it with every single install. They either build it into the cost of goods and they promise every customer a quick and easy way to check the return on their investment, or others have offered it as an add-on or an option. However you position it, I think that having consumption monitoring provides an opportunity for a better customer experience, and there's no better way to stand out than being known for good service. So the topic of good service is a good segue to our next subject, Neurio Installer. So what is Neurio Installer? It's a new app we've developed for professional installers to speed up the installation process and reduce support pains. So Neurio Installer is a free app that you download separate from the Neurio Home User app. Neurio Installer will allow you to automatically add installs to your account, troubleshoot connection issues on site, access live meter readings remotely, and check the Wi-Fi connectivity status of your customers whenever you want to. So here's what a new installation would look like. You would install the hardware and CTs as normal. You'd log into Neurio Installer with your installer account, email, and password. And if you don't have one, you can easily create one in the app. So you search for and connect to the Neurio ad hoc network. The network Neurio creates for itself. Then label your screen and select a time zone. Select the type of CTs you're using, standard or universal, based on the images provided. Use basic settings to configure your meter for a standard installation, or use advanced settings to configure an alternative installation, such as sub-metering or combining two panels into one Neurio. Then you'll get access to live individual CT readings. The app will then prompt you for what to look for in the CT readings to know that your install was successful. It will also display faults if something isn't connected properly, such as the direction of the CTs or a voltage cable. Then it'll guide you on how to fix it. So you'll get a confirmation when your installation is successful, and then an option to connect to the homeowner's Wi-Fi network. If you choose to bypass, the homeowner can now add their Wi-Fi information later on themselves. The next screen gives you an opportunity to take pictures of your install and the inside of the panel. So these will be saved to your meter and accessible by you and Neurio tech support should you need to refer to them later. The last step prompts you for the homeowner's email address, so an email can be sent to them to set up their user account. That's right, the user account can now be set up after the installation is complete. One of the key benefits of Neurio Installer is that you no longer need the homeowner's Wi-Fi password to complete the installation and get access to live meter readings. If you choose to bypass setup Wi-Fi, the homeowner can also download the installer app. On the home screen, they select homeowner and create their own user login. The app will let them know that they must be in their home, and then they'll be prompted to join the Neurio ad hoc network. Once connected, there'll be a button to skip installation settings and set up Wi-Fi. They can search for their own Wi-Fi network, enter the password, and the installer app will chime to let them know that they're successfully connected. Neurio Installer also has some features to help you provide better service to your customers post-installation. So you can log into the Neurio Installer app at any time to view a complete list of all your installs. Each location has a status indicator for user account and Wi-Fi connection. So with a glance, you can see if a customer has completed their user account registration or if their Wi-Fi is down or not yet connected. And when you select a location, you'll see some basic details, such as the meter serial number, when it was installed, and the photos you saved of the installation. If the indicator is showing that the homeowner hasn't set up their user account yet, there's going to be a button to resend them another registration email. It's worth noting that you'll only be able to configure meter settings, such as CTs or advanced configurations, or add a Wi-Fi account to a location if you are on site and able to connect to the Neurio Meters ad hoc network. It's not possible to access configurable meter settings through this app remotely if you're not near the meter device. So we have two different types of installer accounts, Basic and Pro. To set up a basic account, all you need is your name, company name, and email. A basic account will allow you to install and configure an unlimited number of meters, view live meter data through the app while on site, use the in-app guide to troubleshoot installation issues, check if homeowners have registered their user account, check the Wi-Fi connectivity status of each of your installed meters, and upload photos of your installation. Now, a Pro account gives you access to all of the basic features, but it also unlocks Pro features, including remote monitoring, co-branding, and the referral tool. So remote monitoring gives professional installers the ability to remotely monitor all of your customers' energy data. So now you would log into the Neurio Home app, the user app, with your installer login credentials, and you can select any of your locations from a drop-down menu. When you select a location, you'll see that customer's consumption and generation data just as they would when they're looking at their own account. This gives you an opportunity to monitor solar generation performance, as well as keep track of any changes in consumption, so you can be proactive in informing your customers if changes in their usage behavior might be impacting their solar savings. The cost and time associated with attracting new customers is not a new pain. Neurio can help keep the homeowner engaged long after solar turns on. Our stats show that an average Neurio user checks the app at least once per day in the months following a new installation. With a Pro account, you can add your business logo and contact information so it's front of mind every time a customer checks their energy data. And the referral tool is an extension of co-branding, which enables you to create a referral program within your Pro installer account. So as users continue to check the app and show savings to friends, they can use the Refer a Friend button underneath your company logo as a quick and easy way to send you a lead. You can manage the leads within your installer dashboard, design a reward program, and even send monetary rewards for successful referrals via PayPal through the Neurio referral tool. To qualify for a Pro account is simple. There's no cost involved at this time. You must have a minimum of 10 Neurios installed in your network and sign a privacy waiver that requires you to ask customers permission to view their energy data. Now, the Neurio Installer app is set to be available for download this November with the simultaneous launch of the new universal CTs. So let's take a quick look at what else we have in development. Currently, with the Neurio Pro account, you would log into the Neurio Home app and select a location from a drop-down menu to view the live energy data for that account. Based on installer feedback, we're working to expand the Remote Monitoring Pro feature to include an installer dashboard. Through the dashboard, you'll be able to see an overview of all of your installations in one view. It will show average consumption use and solar power generation data for each home at a glance, so you can pinpoint irregularities and provide proactive feedback to your customers. Eventually, you'll also be able to set up alerts for poor solar performance or excessive consumption, so you're in the know without even checking your dashboard. We're often asked, can the Neurio Home Energy Monitor detect individual appliances and report on them? So the W1 HEM, the monitor we've been looking at throughout this presentation, measures total home consumption and solar generation in real time. It does not look at individual appliances. However, we do have a separate product that we call intelligent home monitoring that does. So the installation is exactly the same. You would wrap the two CTs around the main lines. We then use appliance signatures and advanced algorithms to detect particular loads and monitor their behavior. And now its aim is to pick up the home's 6 to 8 largest loads, and it isn't concerned with anything under 450 watts. This type of new technology is continuously being developed, and as such, accuracy can vary. In the process of detecting appliance signatures, there's an opportunity to miss appliances altogether or confuse similar loads. The application also has an option to train appliances, but similar limitations apply. So Neurio Intelligent Monitoring is really a software upgrade to the W1 HEM monitor, and it can be programmed from our back end at any time without any changes to any existing installation. Following extensive beta testing with installers, it should be noted that Neurio appliance detection software isn't recommended for residential solar customers. Managing the expectation that the product could be 60% accurate or 90% accurate, depending on the home, can be confusing. And so the last thing you want is for a customer with a new solar system to call you to come out for an unnecessary service call because the system might be confusing their kettle with their toaster. So that being said, we are offering the upgrade at no charge for those who would like to try it. We just need the serial number or the user email associated with the Neurio account to perform the upgrade. And you can email those requests into support@neur.io. If you've been to our website over the past 6 months, you've probably seen mention of a home energy controller. With an increasing number of batteries being added to PV storage systems, there is an opportunity to maximize the efficiency of these systems. So we've developed storage optimization analytics. They basically take what we already know about energy use in a particular home, what their peak usage periods are, what time they get up, what time they get home. We take that information, add in what we know about the household's utility rate structure, primarily time of use rates, and start to determine when the household should be pulling power from the grid or when it should be using energy stored in the battery. Now, the analytical tool will be launched in the form of a home energy controller. So phase 1 will be rolled out in Q1 of next year and will be intended primarily for enterprise customers. The second generation of the product will be more of an off-the-shelf solution that would be a better fit for solar installers. And we're looking to have this version out at the end of next year. So why should you choose Neurio over other home energy monitors? With over 175,000 installations, we're the market-leading supplier of energy meters. Our OEM business channel continues to grow exponentially, which is allowing us to keep investing in product development and innovation. We're very B2B focused. We sell exclusively through distribution, and our aim is to provide a business tool to help solar installers engage customers and add value and provide an elevated level of service. We have the hardware and the tools to get you into every type of electrical panel, and our live technical support team is expanding to accommodate our growing installer base. So the best way to get to know Neurio is to try it for yourself. So if you haven't already, you can download the Neurio Home app for free or log in through our web portal at my.neur.io. So you can use these login credentials to access a live solar home demo account. And for those of you attending Solar Power International later this month, we will be exhibiting this year at booth 3929. So please come by and say hello, as we'll be demonstrating all of the new products that we talked about today. So this wraps up the presentation for now. And now I want to open up the floor back to Caitlin. I think you wanted to say a few words.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kelly. So I'd like to go ahead and start off our question and answer session now. We do have a number of questions already. If you do have a question, please submit it through the question pane located on your control panel. And again, we'll try to answer as many possible questions as we can. You can always exit the webinar at any time during or following the question and answer session. The survey will pop up in a new window Once the webinar ends, go ahead and give us your feedback and I will send you the presentation. So I'm going to pass it back over to Kelly, and she's going to go through some of the questions we received.
Hi, everyone. All right, so we've got some questions coming in here. Okay, so I've got a question here. Does Neurio only recognize 100-watt loads or more? What about smaller loads, for example, lights, ceiling fans? Will Neurio see these? So I'm assuming that we are just talking about the home energy monitor, not the appliance detection. And yes, although the home energy monitor will only create an activity point on the live screen when you turn something on or off that's 100 watts, it will definitely capture every load that's going through it in the total consumption count.